Within every man exists two forces, one that dreams and builds, and one that doubts and breaks. One whispers of greatness, the other screams for comfort. Too often, the weaker version is allowed to take the reins, that soft, excuse-making, always quitting version of ourselves that finds every reason to stop, to shrink, to settle. It lurks in the shadows of fear, feeding on hesitation, thriving on delay, and commanding us to retreat whenever resistance shows its face. But no man can ever rise to the summit of his potential while dragging that weaker self with him. The climb is steep. The storms are real. Success does not shake hands with the version of you that quits when it hurts or leaves when it's hard. To achieve anything worth having, you must declare war on the version of yourself that keeps choosing comfort over growth. You must bury the self that bows to pressure and awakens the self that bends pressure into power. This is not just a speech, it's a call to arms, not against the world, but against the inner voice that has held you back your entire life. Kill that weak version now, or it will live forever as your jailer. There comes a time in every man's life when he must draw a line in the sand, not against others, but against himself, against the lazy habits, the tired thoughts, the convenient lies he's told himself to feel safe in his own stagnation. And chief among those lies are the excuses, the daily whispers that say, "Cannot now, I can't, I'm not ready," or the most dangerous of them all, "Maybe later." And these excuses do not merely slow your progress, they assassinate your potential before you've even begun the journey. Excuses are the silent killers of greatness. They come wrapped in soft logic and false justification. They don't scream, they don't demand, they persuade, they seduce, they feel reasonable. But their effect is devastating. Each excuse you make is a brick in the wall between who you are and who you could become. You don't break through to success with bricks of comfort. You break through by tearing down everything that stands between you and discipline. It is not enough to want more from life. Many men want, many men hope. But life doesn't reward want. Life rewards action. And action begins when the death of excuses is made final. You must dig a grave for the voice inside you that keeps offering a way out. You must bury the thoughts that tell you tomorrow is a better day to begin. There is no strength in delay. There is only wasted time. You were born with power, not borrowed, not given, but born with it. The mind you possess is capable of building empires, shifting destinies, moving through fear like a blade through fog. But you must rise into it. You must become the warrior your soul has always known you were meant to be. Not a warrior of violence, but of discipline, of vision, of ruthless self-respect. A warrior who doesn't wait for permission, who doesn't kneel to comfort, who doesn't entertain the possibility of failure as an excuse to retreat. Every excuse you've made was a vote for weakness. Every time you said it's not the right time, you delayed the life that could have been. Every time you told yourself, "I'll start next week," you handed one more hour of your life to fear, to doubt, to failure. The warrior within you has had enough. He has watched long enough while you gave your energy to habits that betray your purpose. If you are to rise, you must declare the death of excuses with certainty and finality. Not partially, not for today only. You must sever all ties with that version of you who finds reasons to stay small. That version cannot walk where you're going. That version cannot climb the mountain. That version cannot lead, cannot inspire, cannot win. The road to becoming who you were born to be will not be paved in ease. It will demand effort long after motivation fades. It will call for focus when others are distracted. It will test your endurance in moments of isolation and pain. But within those trials, you will meet your real self, the one not shaped by doubt but by decisions, by doing the thing you said you would do, by rising at dawn when your body wants to rest, by staying late when your comfort begs you to quit. You are not meant for a life of mediocrity, ruled by comfort and guided by fear. You are not here to survive. You are here to build, to expand, to become. But none of it begins until the excuses end. No vision comes alive while wrapped in reasons why it can't be done. No purpose breathes in the presence of cowardice disguised as logic. You must kill the lie that says your past defines your future. You must destroy the myth that says failure is a stop sign. You must silence the voice that tells you perfection is required before progress. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be relentless. Rise, not tomorrow, now, as you are. Begin with what you have, use what you know, and trust that you will grow through the fire, not away from it. You are not lacking, you are waiting. And what you are waiting for will never come unless you rise as the warrior. Warriors don't wish. Warriors don't wait. They work, they fall, they rise again. They learn. They burn with a purpose that won't be quieted by defeat. It begins with one truth, that you are the only one responsible for your future. No one is coming. No one owes you a rescue. The rescue is within you. The breakthrough is within you. And the only thing standing in your way is the mountain of excuses you've allowed to grow unchecked. Tear them down, all of them. When excuses die, the real you is born, the strong you, the focused you, the fearless you. And once that version of you rises, nothing, not doubt, not fear, not failure, can ever chain you again. You will move through life with clarity, with courage, with command, because the weak man who waited, delayed, and made excuses no longer exists. That man died. And in his place now stands the warrior you were always meant to become. Every man is born with greatness woven into the fibers of his being, but not every man will see it come alive. The reason is simple yet devastating. He is chained. Not by the world, not by circumstance, not by others, but by something far more dangerous. By the quitter that lives inside him. That quiet, cunning version of himself that rises in moments of difficulty and whispers, "Give up. It's too hard. You're not enough." That voice is the architect of failure. It doesn't shout, it seduces. And if you do not destroy it, it will destroy you. This quitter doesn't appear when things are easy. It waits until you've committed. It waits until you've dared to believe. And then, with perfect timing, it injects fear. It creates hesitation. It offers escape. It gives you every reason to stop. But that voice isn't your protector. It is your captor. It does not want your peace. It wants your potential. And every time you obey it, you hand over another piece of your destiny. The chains it wraps around you aren't made of metal. They are made of broken promises to yourself. Missed mornings, skipped steps, unfinished work. Every time you stop short of what you said you would do, another link is forged. Over time, those links grow heavier. You begin to move slower. You second-guess more. The weight becomes normal. You start believing the lie that this is just how life is. But that is not life. That is a prison. To break these chains, you must first confront the reality that the quitter within you is not your true self. It is a weaker version, born from fear, built by failure, fed by excuses. It survives only when you shrink. It grows only when you delay. The moment you stop feeding it with inaction, it begins to starve. And in that hunger, it loses power. The man who wins in life is not the one who avoids pain. It is the one who walks into the fire of struggle and says, I will not bow, I will not break, I will not stop. And he does not fear the fight within, he welcomes it. Because he knows the real war is not outside, it is inside. It is between the quitter and the conqueror, between the excuse maker and the action taker, between the shadow self and the higher self. And in that war, neutrality is surrender. You must pick a side. When you rise each morning, you are standing on a battlefield. The world will try to distract you. Comfort will try to seduce you. But the loudest opponent will always be the quitter inside. You know his voice well. You've heard it in the gym when your muscles burned. You've heard it in the silence when no results were showing. You've heard it in the storm of rejection, in the loneliness of discipline, in the tension of progress. And yet here you are, still standing. That means he hasn't won, but he's still fighting. Destroying the quitter isn't about a single moment. It is about a series of decisive daily battles. It's about doing what you said you would do, long after the mood you said it in has left you. It's about showing up on the hard days. It's about refusing to negotiate with weakness. It's about choosing forward when everything inside begs you to quit. And here is the truth that sets men free. You do not need permission to be relentless. You do not need the world to believe in you. You do not need applause to keep moving. You only need one thing, the absolute decision to never again surrender to the quitter. Burn the bridges back to that version of you. Make it impossible to return to who you were. Erase the option of giving up so completely that your only direction is forward. Freedom begins the moment you declare war on your own doubt, the moment you stop making room for your excuses and start building space for discipline, the moment you decide that your future is worth more than your comfort. Every sacrifice you make, every moment you push, every time you resist the urge to quit, you hammer away at the chains, you weaken the grip of the quitter, you rise, and when you break those chains, truly break them, you'll begin to move with force, with clarity, with fire. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You'll stop flinching at failure. You'll stop folding in fear. You'll begin to act like the man you were created to be, focused, unshakable, unstoppable. But remember, the quitter doesn't vanish forever. He waits, he watches. He lurks in moments of fatigue and frustration, and when he returns, you must be ready. You must remind him of the pain he caused. You must remember the goals he killed. You must rise higher, shout louder, move faster, until his voice is drowned beneath the roar of your action. In this life, there are two paths, one built by fear, one built by fire. The quitter walks the first. The warrior walks the second, and only one of them is free. So break the chains, destroy the quitter, become the man who no longer needs to be motivated because he is driven, not by mood, but by mission, not by applause, but by purpose, not by chance, but by choice. And once you've made that choice, never look back, because the man you used to be no longer exists. There is a war raging within every man, not a war of fists or fire, but a war of decisions, a battle between strength and surrender, between advance and retreat. And too many have lived their lives in reverse, constantly retreating from what must be faced, from what must be done, from who they were meant to become. They move backward in the name of safety, or they bow in the name of logic, they justify in the name of peace. But beneath every excuse, behind every retreat, lies a coward, and that coward must be killed if you are ever to conquer life. This coward is not some outside force. It is not the voice of the world. It is not your enemies. It is the soft whisper inside you that says you can't handle this. It appears in the moments when you are most stretched. It thrives in the tension between your goals and your fears. It tells you to shrink when you must expand. It tells you to wait when you must move. It tells you to surrender before the battle has even begun. This coward does not protect you. It imprisons you. It wears the mask of reason and dresses itself in doubt, but its true name is fear. And fear, if not destroyed, will rule you with an iron grip for the rest of your days. It will keep you from starting, from finishing, from rising. It will wrap your mind in hesitation until every opportunity looks like a threat, and every dream becomes too risky to pursue. You are not created to retreat. You are not built to run. The fire within your soul was not meant to be a flicker. It was meant to be a blaze that sets the world around you on fire. But that fire dies a little each time you pull back. Each time you say, not now, and each time you look for the easy way out, each time you obey fear rather than confront it, you lose a piece of yourself. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly. Until one day you wake up and you no longer recognize the man in the mirror. It is time to end the retreat. It is time to face the coward within, to look him in the eyes and declare that he no longer has a seat at the table. He no longer speaks for you. He no longer steers your decisions. That version of you, weak, hesitant, afraid, that version dies today. How do you kill the coward? You do it by doing the thing he fears. You act when he hesitates. You speak when he wants you to be silent. You show up when he wants you to hide. You build discipline where he breeds distraction. You forge habits where he creates delay. You commit when he whispers, play it safe. Every day is a test, and each moment offers a choice. Do you advance or do you retreat? The man who conquers life is not the one who always knows what to do. He is the one who acts even when he doesn't. He is the one who moves forward in confusion, who holds the line in chaos, who chooses courage over comfort not once, but daily. The coward seeks certainty. The warrior seeks growth, and growth demands discomfort. It demands you walk into the storm, not around it. There are no shortcuts, no secrets. Just the pure, unbreakable resolve to rise every time life dares you to fall. No more retreat, no more delay, no more running from what must be faced. Your goals will not bow to your fears. Your dreams will not bend to your excuses, and your legacy will not be built by the man who always took the easier path. Life is not conquered by those who avoid resistance. It is conquered by those who lean into it, who use it, who grow through it. You must become the man who says, I do not run, I do not bow, or I do not quit. Not because you never feel fear, but because you never obey it. You feel it, you face it, and you move anyway. This is the moment where everything changes. Not tomorrow, now. You have lived enough days as the man who retreated. You have given enough years to fear. You have obeyed that coward's voice for too long. And look where it has taken you, to doubt, to delay, to a version of yourself you know was never meant to lead your life. That chapter ends now. The coward dies when the warrior is born. The warrior who chooses discipline over desire. The warrior who chooses growth over ease. The warrior who doesn't wait for permission to move forward. He creates momentum through action, confidence through commitment, strength through sacrifice. You were not made to exist in shadows. You were born for victory, for expansion, for impact. But these things cannot be achieved by the man who still negotiates with his weakness. They belong only to the one who has chosen to kill the coward, bury the excuses, and rise each day with the mindset of a conqueror. When you do this, truly do this, you will no longer ask for motivation. You will be driven by something far greater, the refusal to retreat ever again. You will begin to live not with fear, but with fire, not with hesitation, but with hunger. And you will realize the truth that everything you ever wanted was waiting for you just on the other side of fear, where the coward falls and the conqueror rises. There is a moment in every man's life when he must decide who he will become, not in the eyes of the world, but in the deepest chambers of his own soul. He can remain a victim of his past, of his pain, of the people who failed him, or he can rise. He can stand tall in the wreckage, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. The shift from victim to victor is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. And that choice must begin with burying the weakness that has kept you small and building the beast within that was born for power. The victim asks why life is unfair. The victor asks how he can turn pain into purpose. The victim seeks sympathy. The victor seeks strategy. One is stuck in blame, the other is driven by belief. And though both may have suffered the same blows, only one will rise. Only one will lead. Only one will build a life that others look to as proof that greatness is not given. It is forged. Weakness is not a permanent condition. It is a mindset, a moment, a choice you've repeated so many times that it became your identity. But that identity is a lie. You were not made to beg for mercy from life. You were made to shape it, to stand at the edge of your limits and keep going. But to do that, you must bury the parts of yourself that keep playing the victim, the self-pity, the blaming, the emotional laziness, the comfort-seeking, the habit of quitting when it hurts. That version of you is familiar, but it is not your friend. It has spoken softly in your mind for years, telling you that you are not strong enough, that others had it easier, that maybe you just weren't meant for more. And if you listen long enough, you'll build a life of limitation, not because the world held you back, but because you held yourself back. The beast is not some external image of aggression. It is a force that already lives within you. It is the part of you that does not ask for easier battles. It becomes stronger for the ones already in front of it. The beast is discipline in the dark. It is focus when the world is loud. It is hunger without a finish line. It is built through pain, through struggle, through repetition of the right actions, even when the results are invisible. To build that beast, you must feed it with purpose. You must starve your weakness. You must wake up with intention and move with clarity. The beast does not speak in words. It speaks through action, through early mornings, through long nights, through showing up when no one claps, no one calls, no one believes. Because belief is not borrowed, it is earned. The victim waits for motivation. The victor trains with discipline. Motivation may visit from time to time, but discipline is the weapon that breaks the cycle of excuses. You do not become powerful by waiting for the world to change. You become powerful by changing yourself first, by facing your habits, your fears, your failures, not with guilt, but with grit. You cannot hold on to the victim and expect to rise as the victor. You must bury the story that keeps you stuck. The one that says, I'm too broken, I've failed too much, it's too late. None of it is true unless you believe it, and if you're still breathing, you're not finished. You're being forged. The fire that surrounds you is not to burn you, it is to reveal you, to burn off the weakness that was never meant to stay, to harden the steel of your will. The man who becomes the victor learns to find power in the pain. He doesn't complain about the weight, he uses it to grow stronger. He doesn't run from the storm, he walks into it and owns every drop. Because he knows something the victim never will, that nothing can defeat the man who refuses to be defeated. You have everything you need to rise. Not because of your environment, not because of your past, but because you have the power to choose right now. In this moment, you can choose to start becoming the man you were always meant to be. It will not happen overnight. It will not happen in comfort. It will happen through repetition, through fire, through effort that most will never understand. But you will. And in time, they will see the results of what you built in silence. Bury the weakness. Let it die without ceremony. Let it fade without grief. That version of you was never your destiny. It was only your starting point. But the man who builds the beast, the man who becomes the victor, that man becomes unshakable. He does not fear failure. He learns from it. He does not fear rejection. He stands taller after it. He does not fear loneliness. He uses it to sharpen his focus. Victory begins the moment you decide you will never again live on your knees, not in apology for who you are, not in fear of who you're becoming, but standing tall, ready to pay the price for greatness, and to do so every single day. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the man who gives up when it's hard. You are the man who goes through hell and keeps walking, who loses and keeps fighting, who falls and keeps rising. That man, the victor, lives within you. Build him, train him, unleash him, and never look back. There comes a time in every man's journey when the enemy he must face is not out in the world. It is within, not a competitor, not a critic, not even circumstance, but his own reflection, the old self. The version of you that clings to comfort, excuses, fear, and the illusion of safety. That man must die. He must be slayed without hesitation, because as long as he breathes, you will never step into the power, the clarity, the force you were born to carry. The war within you is not chaos. It is a divine calling to evolve. Most men spend their entire lives fighting the wrong battles. They blame people, they chase applause, they argue with critics, they try to prove their worth to others. But none of that matters until the war inside is won. Because until you conquer the man in the mirror, no victory out there will satisfy you. And no success will be sustained. The battlefield of life is won first in silence, in solitude, in sweat, in the daily decisions that the world does not see. That old self, the weak version of you, is persistent. He doesn't shout. He whispers. He shows up with doubt when you dare to dream. He feeds your fears when you're close to rising. He keeps you scrolling when you should be building. He holds your tongue when truth must be spoken. He's always there, tugging at your ambition, dragging it down into mediocrity with invisible chains made of habit and hesitation. He is the one who's too tired, too confused, too hurt, too afraid, and he must be slayed, not gently, not gradually, but with full force and finality. Because that version of you has kept you bound for too long. He's the one who quit when it got hard. He's the one who ran from pain, who settled for less, who tried to please everyone and ended up pleasing no one, not even himself. He wears the mask of survival, but behind that mask is self-betrayal. To slay him is not an act of violence, it's an act of liberation. You are not here to survive life, you are here to master it. This internal war demands sacrifice. It demands that you let go of old patterns, outdated beliefs, and the comfort that's costing you your potential. You must give up the need to be liked if it's keeping you from being great. You must surrender the story of I'm not ready, because the truth is, you'll never feel ready. You only become ready by moving forward again and again despite fear. The new you, the warrior, the leader, the beast, he does not emerge when life is easy. He is forged in discipline. He is carved in discomfort. He is summoned in silence when no one is watching, and quitting would be easy. But quitting is what the old self does. And you are not him anymore. To win the war within, you must do the work others won't. Wake up earlier, stay later, train harder, read deeper, think sharper. You must hold yourself to a higher standard, not because the world demands it, but because your future requires it. Greatness will not negotiate with laziness. Purpose will not tolerate passivity. Every morning you wake up, the battle begins again. The old self rises. He offers the easy path. He whispers, take a break, tip the gym, delay the dream, hide from the call. And every time you obey him, he gets stronger. But every time you defy him, you get closer to killing him for good. This war is not about being perfect. It's about becoming powerful. It's about mastery over your mood. It's about being the man who follows through when the motivation disappears. The man who doesn't need applause to keep going. The man who holds the line when others fold. You slay your old self not with one decision, but with thousands. Repeated intentional acts of courage, focus, and self-respect. You do it by keeping promises to yourself, by refusing to break your word, by stepping forward when you want to stay still. The old self will beg for survival. He'll tell you, you've done enough, you deserve to rest, you'll start tomorrow. But he is a liar. And if you listen to him, you will live the same year over and over, calling it a life, no more. The man you were yesterday has nothing to offer the man you must become. You don't need him. You don't owe him. You owe yourself the strength to evolve, to rise, to lead, because the war within you is the only one that truly matters. Every victory on the outside, the success, the money, the recognition, it all flows from one source, the discipline, the courage, the unbreakable will you develop on the inside. When you slay your old self, you don't lose anything. You gain everything. You gain clarity, or you gain control. You gain time. You gain freedom from the lies that once held you hostage. You become dangerous, not to others, but to doubt, delay, and defeat. You become a man the world must reckon with. A man on fire with purpose, with vision, with unshakable resolve. So rise to the battle. Look your old self in the eye. Tell him his time is over. Not tomorrow, not next year. Now. The future does not belong to the man who waits. It belongs to the one who wins the war within and never lets the coward rise again. So today make the vow. No more waiting, no more retreat, no more answering to the weak version of yourself that's kept you small. That man dies here. Slay him with your actions. Bury him with your discipline. Burn every excuse and rise from the ashes as the force you were born to be. The war within was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. From this moment forward, walk like the victor, think like the beast, and lead like the conqueror, because the only enemy that ever mattered has already been defeated by you.